Sexy People Podcast. I'm Dan Frigolette. I'm here with Grant Ducati. Thank you for being here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. All right. First distraction. I've never asked anybody really how they do it. How did you get the name? How did you come up with the name?
So I had gone by Lucas Cash before. Cash is a
too.
family name, and I loved that name. That was such a good name. And unfortunately, it's a family name, and I live in the South. And so the family was like, yeah, you got to change that. That's not going to work.
So your family knows. You're out to your family. Everybody knows what's going on.
So my parents and my aunt.
Great.
2 aunts.
Who's in the dark?
Grandparents, just the old parts of the Southern family that would explode if they found out. Yeah. I think they would combust.
Yeah. They would go in, not out?
It would just be a mess.
they would more raisin, or they would explode out. I even doing comedy was like challenging for like my grandma, and really? I'm not like the dirtiest act. So to have to like tell my grandmother that I was doing porn would have not been an easy journey.
Yeah,
at least. Brag about yourself for like 30 seconds.
Well, so I was gonna say with the name, I had known Trenton at the time, and so I think he was the first one I reached out to, and I was like, oh shit, I hadn't had my first Naked Sword film come out yet, and I said like, oh shit, I need to do something about this, and so he offered me his last name, and it just all went from there. So yeah,
good enough. Sorry, do the brag about yourself for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Brag about myself. Ooh, I hate that.
I know, it's awful.
How do I be nice about this?
No, be arrogant for a second. This is your pass to be arrogant for a second.
I think I'm one of the youngest people in the industry that's gotten, that is in as far as I am, as far as being, knowing the people that I do, having the opportunities that I've had. I don't think it's been offered to a lot of people my age. So definitely proud of that.
Okay.
Oh God. I did have a fully built out career, owned businesses before I started doing porn too. Yeah. And I gave a lot of that up to do porn. So by 22, I was pretty well established in a career, and then just said, screw it, go into something else.
Yeah.
So
screw it. I'm going to go screw it. What like job functions from other industries have you found super useful in your career now that were unexpected? Maybe
marketing for sure.
Sure.
That's something that's come up in the industry significantly in the past few years. It's just people having to know how to market themselves. So if I could go back now to school, and I might, it would definitely be social media marketing.
Okay.
Just any kind of marketing major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so how old are you?
I'm 23 now, as of last week.
Nice. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Very good. So, so you said that's young for the thing. What categories do you find people are putting you in? And then maybe what are some like tags that you wouldn't have thought that people would have put you in?
Oof.
Like weird search history stuff.
So I obviously get twink a lot.
Okay.
That's one that I was always kind of like insecure about because I wanted to be, like the big guy on.
Well, explain that too. So I want to say that like a good portion of 185 episodes were just straight guy interviewing straight girl, and so I am on the learning curve of trying to figure out how to be the wokest, know all the things, and I imagine that there are people that are listening that are less knowledgeable than me, and I want them to be interested and understand. So run us through the 101 of twink.
Oh gosh. So twink, as I've understood it, is just a younger guy that still looks like he might be under 18.
Right.
I think that's really it.
So, but
that's the gist of it.
But it's not necessarily, so it's like prepubescent is the idea.
Kinda, yeah.
Like
just barely
jail
legal.
jailbait.
Jailbait.
Right. Barely legal. Wait, by the way, so you said you're from the South. Where'd you grow up?
Birmingham, Alabama.
Where is what's the age of consent in Birmingham, Alabama?
Ooh, in the state, oh God. It's actually 16.
Yeah, Alabama's one of the low ones, right?
Yeah. Virginia, I think, is 14, so they've got us
Is
beat.
that right?
Yeah. But
that's a far drive to just to fuck somebody for 2 years younger. That's a long
I
way.
mean, I guess people do it.
Virginia, 14. Holy crap. Wait, why do you know that?
You know, I had some misadventures with some older men before I was 18.
No shit.
And so I needed to figure out, you know, to what extent am I breaking the law?
You wanted to not, well, first of all, I don't think they're not prosecuting the young person. So you wanted to make sure that if you went somewhere and you were young, that the person hooking up with you would not be committing a crime, which is very courteous, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, well, so I was dating the guy too.
Okay.
And so
how old was he? You're 14. Or you're how old?
I was oh gosh, I was hooking up with people off Grindr at 15.
Right.
For sure, because I didn't have my car yet. I remember that. So people were picking me up from my front yard super late at night.
How did you get away with this? What were you telling your parents?
Oh, I just climbed out the window.
Nobody knows it happened.
No.
Still.
No.
Amazing.
No, still no one knows. You're the first one. And them. Yeah, they know. So,
okay. So you would literally. So it's so weird. So I'm a bit older. So the idea that like I could have been trying to figure out my virginity and then just have an app blows my mind. Right.
Yeah.
I was even just like, I saw a meme today about like MapQuest where we were printing out directions. When I was 16, we were printing out directions, holding them in our hand. And if you dropped them, you crash your car. Like that was like life. So just to have that tool, have Grindr at 14, 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair. I'm like jealous, and I feel like you cheated life. That's not fair.
I mean, I think it led to my my pretty quick, you know, I don't want to say descent, but trip into sexuality that led to porn at such a young age. So
sure.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah. So okay, so wait, but run me through that whole thing. So you were dating. How old were these men when you were at this 15 age?
Oh God, I try to forget that.
Sure, but we're interested.
Okay, so I guess the one that I did actually look that up for, he was 22.
That's so funny, and that's not that big of a difference.
No, it's not.
It wasn't
awful.
like me trying to like get with a 15-year-old.
So the second one lied to me about his age.
Sure, that's what you do if you're trying to fuck someone too young for you. You lie about your age. That's step one.
But even the age he gave me was a little too old.
Right. So
yeah,
how old did he say he was?
I want to say, because he was between my mom and dad, I want to say he was 48.
Right.
At the time. He said he was 48.
That's what he said. And then you saw him and you were like, these pictures feel like they're 10 years old.
Oh, he looked good.
Okay.
He was a 6'4" or 5", just roided out dude.
Yeah.
And he looked good. But I think he took off maybe 10 to 15 years from his age.
Yeah, you think he was 60?
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm told
by
other people who have just known him around Birmingham.
I see.
For that long. Yeah.
So when you grow up in a small town like that, and it's the South, even though it's like we're at a progressive period of time, right? There's a lot of no-nos to being gay in that community, I imagine.
Yeah.
And so what happened? So you end up, I don't know, you end up involved and out. And so everybody kind of knows everybody else. Is that how small the scene was? That like, they're like, oh yeah, dude's like clearly 70.
So I think that it's a smaller gay community than, obviously bigger cities. But I think that just like much bigger cities, I still see a lot of people every time I go out that I don't know.
For sure.
So it's at least that big, but you know, a lot more people know each other because of that.
Right.
Birmingham, you know, it's definitely a liberal bubble in the middle of a
Okay,
very
sure.
conservative state.
It's like like one of the artsy towns.
Yeah. So anyone that wants to still live close to family, but you know, out of rural Alabama, they move to Birmingham.
Got it.
And so we have, you know, some of the top medical research universities in Birmingham, UAB. We were the top, or one of the top cities for actually HIV and AIDS research.
No kidding.
Back in the, you know, back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So it's a very progressive city. It's a very, compared to the surrounding area, very easy place to come out versus
No kidding.
the surrounding area.
Yeah. Well, Alabama was also, I think my intro to Alabama was all the NASA stuff, right? And then there's the munitions
Huntsville
company as well. Yeah. So you got Huntsville, and Huntsville felt like a progressive place as well. Artsy place.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I don't love it.
I could be wrong.
I think it's subpar to Birmingham, but it's a nice place.
Yeah, sure. Wait, so okay, so would you say Birmingham is the biggest progressivist? That's a word, but is it the most like woke part of Alabama, Birmingham?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then who's two?
Oh, see, that's kind of tricky. So we were, you know, Birmingham especially was the center of the Black Civil Rights Movement back in the 60s. And so coming from that, you know, we're extremely progressive, and very mindful of our history from that. So it's hard to say between like Selma and Huntsville. I would say Huntsville is the most advanced as far as, you know, the business and the everything that they bring in. But we obviously have, you know, other sites that have to do with civil rights movements that would also be in that list.
Got it.
Yeah.
So being in this, so what an interesting experience being in the South, being 15, having Grindr, being able to do that. That awakening. It's interesting because when I'm, you know, as a dumb cis straight boy, I don't have enough information a lot of times about just what it would be like to have somebody like tell you that you like what you're into is like wrong. And so a lot of the people that I've interviewed this month like lived most of their lives in like shroud or quiet or like, so for you to like be out so early, at least to yourself, is pretty atypical from what I understand. Do you find that you were somebody who understood your sexuality sooner and felt more accepted sooner than a lot of people that you've encountered in your life?
I think so. It's surprising, you know, the change that happened. I think it started really, you know, around the beginning of the Obama presidency. Things just started getting a lot easier for us. Yeah. And so it was fairly easy for me to come out at 15. I had some issues with people at school. And people like younger than me are coming out so much sooner than me with such like more concrete identities and, you know, descriptions of these identities than I could have ever done, you know, back then. And they're so much more confident in who they are. And so that's even shocking for me being 23 and, you know, meeting a 18-year-old that, you know, is light years ahead of where I was at that age.
Right. I hate a young kid with confidence. It stresses me out. So that's I don't know. That's so you said during the Obama presidency it kind of cleaned things up. Do you think so then is it fair to say Obama is the gayest president we've had?
Well, there's the meme of is it I want to say it's Eisenhower where he's just sitting all prim and proper and it's like There's a meme going around with a picture of him right now where it's like, she might have been a little gay.
Do you think we've had a gay president? I think we've definitely had a gay president.
I feel like yes. So rumor has it that Governor Meemaw, Kay Ivey here in Alabama, is a lesbian.
Okay.
And she had a live-in partner and everything before she started really running for office. And then she had to go.
It sucks so hard that you're like, well, listen, I'm gonna go for bigger things, so you gotta go.
But vice governor of Alabama.
Yeah. Well,
higher if you're gonna tear your house apart.
Alabama's gonna be one of the slowest places to get a gay person in office, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We've never even had a New York City mayor who is openly gay.
Really?
Yeah. It's still a long time coming. We're so far behind. We're farther behind than we should be. Like I like having hopeful conversations, but then I'm like, we've never had a gay president. We're not close. But I do like the idea that Obama was the gayest president. I like that. All right. Yeah. I was looking at your content. I don't want to be an idiot, but the double fisting thing. Most people's heads are cut off. You are the fister in that video.
Yeah.
Okay. What's better, being the fister or being the fistee?
I'm such a switch that I love both.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to take one to the extent that they took it.
Yeah.
Quite yet. But I mean,
you were just crushing ass in that.
Oh yeah. They asked for it too.
Yeah. I think if you guys, so it's on your Twitter, right? That's where I saw it.
Yeah.
If you guys want to check it out, I think you lose your watch in one of them.
I do. Yeah. Apple Care comes in handy.
You're pinging it. It was a weird end of the video. You're like doing the Find My iWatch is weird. but just literally wild. Very impressive body of work. How much physical toil does it take to double fist a pair of men?
I think that my muscular endurance from my elbow down is up there.
Okay.
So that wasn't as much an issue as it was, I lived coming from Alabama and then moving to LA for a period of time. That's really the only chance that I get to explore something like that.
Right.
And so, I had experiences prior to that, but my biggest concerns were, pleasing them, not hurting them, making sure they're okay. Well, and then times that by 2. Right. And I'm making sure that both of these people are okay. I'm not hurting them, figuring out what their signs are for if they're comfortable, if they're good, if they're enjoying themselves. So, there was a lot going on and it all got caught on camera. Yeah. So it was an amazing experience. I would absolutely do it again and again.
So what was what do you call that? What do you call that scene? When the more we start stacking more and more things into the thing, is it just a double fisted scene? Is that?
I've heard, that wouldn't be double fisting.
Because you're double fisting, kind of. You're the double fister. But nobody's getting double fisted.
No, not one person. I've heard it's some variation of chariot. I can't remember the word. Yeah, because
I love that. wait. Do the motion again.
It's just you're just going at it.
Like you're holding reins. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Well, once you're in, so once you're in, yeah. Once you're in, is past the elbow? I mean, the part I didn't watch the whole. I was like, I get what's going on here, but so I didn't watch the whole thing. Plus, I think I was also a preview on Twitter. But so the most of the function is just the in and out. We're just or once you got in, were you trying to go elbow deep? What's the real?
No, so since you're dealing with that second hole, some guys like depth. Some guys only really want to go about wrist deep.
Yeah.
I've been, up to my bicep in a guy before.
Have you?
I have. Yeah, that was fun.
I think one of my favorite things that me and like my first girlfriend ever said to each other is we were talking about fisting and we were talking about going elbow deep.
Yeah.
And I love that you went bicep deep on a person.
Oh yeah.
That feels
That's hot as hell too.
yeah.
Yeah. So they were more into the up to the wrist. I'm sure they've gone farther, but a lot of guys don't care for the depth stuff.
Yeah. Well, the hardest part is the initial penetration and the
Yeah,
release, right? That's the
I think so. Yeah.
because
And then
that's
it's the whole area going in.
you call it
It's
second
very,
hole. Is that where we're calling it second hole?
yeah. When you got to deal with that with dick too.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yes.
Okay,
This
cool.
is a podcast that centers
making
around
sure.
sex positivity and porn. We're talking about fisting two men. I think we can say dick. I think we're
Yeah. Okay, sweet. So you have to deal with that when you're bottoming too. I mean, it's nothing new with that. I mean, you get guys who, are just the right length to just punch it, and it's not it's not a great experience.
Yeah.
And it's just, physically you're not compatible. I know, like, from what I've heard, women, some guys will be too big for women just because it's just not, it can't, take it.
You can bottom out. Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, it needs to be short enough to not punch it or long enough to go through it and make it relax.
I see.
Yeah. So, wait, how do we get there from fisting?
Fisting. I don't know. Just the what's the hardest part of it? Because the starting point is a fist. Yeah.
So once you start, introducing girth back there, the hole is definitely the first.
About this discussion.
Do what?
You could be like an anal professor. The way you're very delicately. Once you introduce girth into the equation, I appreciate this very much.
Well, so it's all muscle up in there. And so, you have to stretch all the muscle or it's going to not be a very pleasant experience.
Interesting.
So yeah, you got to stretch everything out.
Yeah. I never thought of it in that way. I like it. So are there things, I mean, that's an intense scene for me, I feel like. Cause I haven't even really seen that straight side. That approach. Are there things that you've been asked to do that you said no to, or are there things that you definitely would say no to?
There's a lot that I'm into that I don't show on camera just because I feel like I'm in the part of my career where I'm trying to appeal to, the more mainstream things. Fisting was really even pushing it for social media for Grant.
Right.
But, off camera or on camera, I don't think I would go any further than fisting at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it. So that's interesting. So would you say that your fans then more narrate the lines that you're trying to exhibit than, because you're saying mainstream, but like ultimately we're deciding, we decide based on who's watching and what they're into, right?
Yeah.
And what that line is. So do you think that you draw that line because of what because of what your fans are into and what they're looking for?
I think as creators, we definitely, dictate the types of fans that we have. And so if we're you have to put content out there before people come to you anyway.
Sure.
So if I'm putting out more vanilla stuff, but focusing more on, my ass or, more stuff that has to do with my dick, depending on what I put out there is what I start getting more of a response to. And then you just create content that's focused on that. Got it.
So wait, so like on OnlyFans, like what's your like garden variety, like best post, like the one that you can replicate and that it's going to do well?
Doggy does really well with me bottoming. Doggy does really well. And then reverse cowgirl where you can, cowboy, where you, where I'm leaning back.
Reverse cow non-gendered.
Yeah. I was thinking, yeah. So Oh, and I lean back and you can actually see everything going on.
Yeah.
And it's just pointed right at the camera. That goes
Yeah.
over really well.
Yeah.
They love, people generally love that position. I mean, just any chance that I can get where I'm bottoming and it's just really showing off my ass and everything happening, in between.
That's your bread and butter.
People love that. Yep.
Yeah.
Size difference goes over really well too.
Are you tiny?
I'm about 5'6".
Okay.
And so there are a lot of people in the industry that are, over 6 foot.
Yeah.
So
5'6" is pretty atypical for a man, right?
yeah. I wouldn't say in, this industry. I've met a few people who are really big in the industry who I'm actually taller than.
Okay.
And that ended up being a surprise.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of guys, shorter guys can pack. Sorry?
No, go ahead.
Shorter guys can pack on more muscle more easily.
Right.
And then, dick size doesn't really have anything to do with height. And so if a short guy has a big old dick and can put on a lot of muscle, on camera, you can make him look like he's 6 foot.
Better, right? I guess that makes sense. Right. Because on the other side, it's like, girl side, it's like, it's all about trying to find like these 4'11", 4'10", 4'9" girls, so that again it just looks like they're getting like dominated by these men, and they're not 6'8", but they may as well be with the size difference.
They could very well be my height.
Yeah, so I like that. I do like that. I do like that notion that if you're short and you're stacked and you can put on muscle on camera, that's the best formula.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not a trend that I think like the average viewer would be able to tell, but like you will never see certain tops in the same scenes with certain other tops.
Yeah.
Just because it's, this guy is actually 6 something and this guy is not so much.
So you're saying from like a brand perspective, or like the size difference is like alarming? Like why wouldn't you see them together?
It's more from a brand thing.
So
because
like
if you're marketing someone who's
like a big sexy man with a huge cock, but I'm really 5'7", and then the other one of me is actually 6'1", we don't ever want to shoot together because we don't want to kill the illusion.
Yeah, I mean, it breaks the fantasy, and we're selling a fantasy.
Yeah. All right. So you are young, but you also have a young-ish look. Do you think that how long do you think that this boyish charm look will hold on? And do you think if I don't know, like I don't know what the other thing would be like. I don't know if do you think if like growing like an 8-inch beard would like make like money that you would go that route, or what do you think?
If that's what people are into, then I guess that's the route I would have to take. People that last a really long time in this industry are ones that adapt to, reasonably what they, how do I say this? People that last a long time in the industry are people that adapt well to their age.
Sure.
As it's
That's
appropriate.
a good way to say it.
Yeah.
So my age, and I was saying this, I don't even think it made it on an episode, but I was saying this to somebody recently, was my age, and I don't know about boy side, but on boy-girl side, most of the people that were my age that were women left. They just sort of like vanished in the last like 5 years. And then now at the tail end of that period, it's like the people that hung around have fantastic careers, because I'm not less attracted to the person who I thought was hot at 28. I was 28, they were 28. Now we're 40, and that's still who I want to jerk off to. So we've reached this, because there was a period of time where everything was mainstream and they were pushing people out, especially women. They were like, oh, you're all, get out of here. So we're finally getting up to this part where, I mean, you justifiably, if you wanted to, could easily, as a hot person, stay in this industry into your 60s, and I think that there's a market for that. And it really is. Yeah. It's like, because you're these people are going to grow with you. So the new people that you get that are 20 every year, it doesn't have anything to do with the people that have been with you. Your ride or dies, as they say.
Yeah,
Who will hang with you?
absolutely.
And there's so many people who like left the industry who I want to jerk off to. Like, where are you? Come back. I want, you know. And so we're at this
Yeah.
we're at this weird juncture where there's like almost no. That we had this discussion the other day. Do you think that there is an age that's too old for porn? Do you think that there's somebody, specific by age that like you'd be like, all right, you're 75, it's time to go. Like, do you think there's an age?
I think there's a market for everything. I think it's case by case. You know, if you turn 35 and you're still trying to appeal to the twink market, and you can't show any ability to adapt to like a more mature market,
Yeah.
you're done.
Well, so what's the thing after twink? So if twink is like young and prepubescent and like barely legal, what's the next?
I
Just
would
young
say
hot boy?
really more just like the jock hunk
Yeah.
type, the archetype, really.
And then after that,
Oh, daddy. Yeah.
And then it's just daddy forever, or it's daddy and then it's granddaddy. Is there a granddaddy?
I think that category is on Pornhub.
Okay. Do you have is DILF a thing that gay men use as a because straight men love this MILF thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah. DILF is thrown around just as much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see.
I mean, there are some guys that are my age that I'm attracted to. I would say 90% of the men that I'm attracted to are at least 10 to 20 years older than me.
Yeah. And
so
who's buying your content?
Who's buying my content?
Yeah. Is it those men? Or it's men your age?
I don't, you know, that's not a statistic I have access to, but I would say the over 30 crowd.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like
there's two sides of porn, right? So the one side is I want to be in there, and then the other side is I want to fuck the person. It's like you have, and then there's also the voyeuristic part where like I just want to watch these two go at it.
Yeah.
So you have all of those markets going for you, because you know on boy side, generally speaking, the people that are watching your porn are liable to be attracted to everybody in the scene sexually.
Right.
And
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And so there's like
you don't
all
want
the
to see someone that you really like. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, you don't want to see someone that you really like messing around with someone that you just don't want to jerk off to.
Maybe, but so then that's where it's interesting, right? So like I'm I'm a straight boy, so I watch straight porn. So like what we have to do is we have to remove who's fucking the person we want to watch get fucked.
Yeah.
Like, so there's like this weird emotional removal. So either you're like, and you can go from either perspective, because I'm a dude, so I'm like, I can jerk off in any circumstances. So I either got to come from the perspective that like, he shouldn't be allowed to fuck the person that I'm watching want to get fucked, and it's like now it's like punishment to everybody, right? Or it's that like I want to be him, or that like, but there's no thing where I shut off being attracted to that whole half of porn. So I think that there's easily people that can watch boy porn, and then just half of it is like, that doesn't matter to me because I'm here for this side of I'm here for this side of the show.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't think that it affects it, but maybe, I mean, I think it's a much sweeter deal. Being homosexual and watching porn where everybody is somebody who you'd want to fuck in the scene. I think that's a much better arrangement. That's why guys love the girl stuff. Because it's the first time we get that experience where we get just to see two people that we actually want to fuck, and there's nobody like intervening.
Yeah. And I think there's harsher criteria for gay porn stars, is at least men, than the straight guys that do straight porn.
You mean you're saying they have to be hotter?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there is a good chance that everyone in every scene that you see that's gay porn, you'll be attracted to them.
Yeah.
Versus, I've seen some straight porn stars with some busted faces, but they've got
Name
a good
names.
body and a big old dick. So
Name
it
names.
doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
no, we really don't care what the face is on the guy.
Yeah.
And then it also speaks to two things. That speaks to one, dudes kind of being more superficial than women, because women, and not that straight porn is really targeted at women, but women can see past an ugly dude. But dudes can't really see past ugly people. We're the worst. Dudes are the worst thing out there. So we want.
Yeah. Well, we've been the most critical of people's appearance for so long that we've projected it onto women to the point where they're, it's.
You clean up my raw language. I like you for that. I just say something flagrant, and you're like, yes, no. We have been critical in history.
Well,
it's a good balance. My idiocy and your intelligence. I like.
Well, thanks.
Okay, so where are you right now? What is this? What is this place?
I'm in Birmingham right now. So I am roommates with some good friends of mine. We're in a really good place right now, and actually just moved in here. Go ahead.
And this is where you live now?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm in Birmingham. Really, the thing was, I wasn't working in LA.
Yeah.
So porn studios, or at least the ones that I was really strict whenever I went into the industry about what studios I wanted to work with. So that was absolutely Falcon, top of my list. They're one of the oldest studios that exist still. They survived AIDS. It's, I'm actually, to work with them means a lot more to me than most people who have worked with them, just because of the history behind them. I'm proud of what I put out when I work with them.
Yeah.
It's such high quality stuff, and there's so much history behind it as well. So Falcon doesn't shoot in LA. So I was being paid to travel to Palm Springs and Vegas and New York, and it just and Spain will be next year too.
Oh shit.
It just doesn't make sense for me to live in LA and pay LA prices when I can, live a lot cheaper here.
Yeah.
Travel from here and be with my friends and family.
Well, and that's what it seems like everybody's sort of doing, especially since a good portion of content now is self-made, so it doesn't matter where you are.
Right. Yeah.
And then that was actually the draw to Vegas for a while, because Vegas was cheap for a while. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden Vegas isn't as cheap anymore. So then now it's just like there's like a new Vegas. It's just like wherever people go, it ends up being where they're, because now you're not really breaking. I don't know. I'm going to say something that completely out of turn, but you're not breaking any laws to like film yourself in your house. I don't think.
Not anymore here. No, we had. It was around the time where gay marriage was being legalized. I want to say it was like 2014. Alabama, up until that point, Alabama had an anti-sodomy law.
I see.
And I think it was the U.S. Supreme Court that struck it down. So it used to be illegal here, but now it's not.
Yeah. Well, so what was the law that was making it so that we couldn't make porn, that we couldn't film sex?
Oh, it wasn't anti-sodomy. So,
because sex work, generally speaking, is a big no-no in our country. Federally, it's a no-no.
I remember that we had Trenton told me a lot about this because he had a lot to do with it. There was a law, it had to do with OSHA, where they did want to like put a ton of restrictions on studio porn.
Right.
So amateur porn at that point wasn't really that big of a deal. I mean, there was Pornhub and all of that. They can't regulate that.
Sure.
Because no one's getting paid in that scenario.
Right.
So, OSHA tried to step in. This was a few years back before I was in the industry.
This was like the condom scare thing for a while.
Right. Yeah. And we really only stopped using condoms pretty recently, I want to say.
So I don't know. Did anybody ever call it Condom Gate? It was like the idea that all porn had to be. So So and it hit, the news hit, but it never really made its way into my straight porn.
Yeah.
Even though supposedly it was at one point, California was like an all condom state for porn.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to say this law went as far as requiring everything. I mean, it was like dental dams, condoms. It was very overreaching. I want to say like even crew on set had to wear some sort of PPE.
I love that. This is such a funny idea.
It's
especially since like way pre-COVID. So like they're like you have to wear like a dental face guard.
Yeah.
And like a hazmat to hold camera. I think that's hilarious. Or they're literally like every crew has to be wearing a condom just in case.
Yeah.
Nobody's fucking anybody. No. Please put a condom on, please, sir.
But now, like, you know, if there's some fluid where it shouldn't be, I'll have a crew member with just a paper towel fixing it real quick, or I have, you know, the funniest explanation or the
where is it? Wait, where is cum not supposed to be? Just because now I'm racking my brain.
Oh, it's not when the cum shows up. It's just when there's too much lube or it's like dripping. Yeah, they clean that up for me.
I love a lubey scene.
Oh yeah, me too.
They don't. Yeah. Who doesn't like lubey scenes?
I love it.
Who doesn't like lubey scenes? You said they don't. You said they don't.
The crew.
Okay, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
They see something I don't.
Crew doesn't want to get
don't see
hit
it if
with
it's
stuff.
down there, but
yeah.
But I'll have at one point, you know, someone laying on their back between my legs with a camera, and then someone else with a light, and then, you know, the top is behind me. I mean, it's very invasive. I've had more than one camera like in between every. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun. I love making studio porn and content and everything.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Sexy People Podcast. This is part 1. Part 2 will come back next week. You can pick up with our chat there. Thank you so much for listening.